This disturbing video, filmed on December 15th on a crowded 3 train in New York City, shows a Jewish man being choked and threatened. NYPD is investigating it as a hate crime. In the viral clip posted to Instagram by journalist Travis Hawley, 2 black men are yelling in the face of a Jewish man before one grabs his throat, as the subway rider is heard shouting, "Chill." Social media users were quick to point out the lack of response from other strap hangers. No one helps?
What the fuck do you mean lack of response from strap hangers? Don't you remember what happened to the last person that responded to a strap hanger? Do you remember what happened to Daniel Penny? All these people in the comments saying that somebody else should risk their freedom and risk their lives and end up like Daniel Penny, who was almost convicted, was almost going to serve 20-something years or more for murder because he defended other passengers from a violent, deranged black man. You think anybody else is in a hurry to step in line, lose their freedom, be taken away from their family, all to protect who? Now, I hate people that call for violence because it's collective punishment. It's not wrong. It's wrong with anyone does it. A lot of people associate anyone Jewish that's outside of Israel with the Zionist Jews of the country, not even realizing that even in Israel itself, you have Ashkenazi Jews, or they're more Orthodox. Then you have the Zionists that literally hide behind them in their religion. They hide behind them in their history. But the Zionists in Israel, they're not even religious. They are atheists. So that's why they have zero problem with genocide or murder, or assassination. That's why they're hated worldwide. It's not Jewish people per se. There's a difference. So when you see these attacks increasing in New York, you have to understand it's because of the perception by the public that they're just all one unified group. And unfortunately, this is a war. And I keep telling everyone there is a proxy war between the globalists of the World Economic Forum and the Zionists of Israel. And you're going to see that play out because you now see Jewish people that are going to be fighting Muslims in all over the world. See, they're the invading armies that they're bringing in from Northern Africa and from the Middle East are intended to go to places that were formerly Jewish strongholds. And now they are going to have full permission and protection to physically go after Jewish people. A lot of people don't know this. The reason Jewish people per se, they push a lot of the trans and the gay agenda. Everyone knows that. That's the reason why a lot of the books were burned back in the 30s. That gave rise to the Reich, was to combat the push for the LGBT and trans agenda on children 100 years ago. The reason is physically they have a different a phenotype than other humans. So similar to Asians, they could pass physically for women with minor surgery. You don't see many Asians or Jewish people playing in the NBA or the NFL. They have a physically smaller stature than a man like myself. Because of that, they really are now going to be defenseless in their strongholds. Their strongholds in Australia have been invaded. So has the UK, France, Germany, any places where they had a grip, even especially here in the United States, in New York, Los Angeles. They are purposely decreasing law enforcement so that there will be no one to protect their group. Right now, it's just words. Right now, it's just empty threats. Somebody snatching you up on a subway. But in the next coming months, especially once Mamdani takes office, there won't be any law enforcement to stop people from roving with gangs through Jewish neighborhoods to destroy them. That is coming. Now, it was months ago that I did another, I did more of the hate crime videos, and I was giving this PSA, if you will, to inform Jewish people in these cities. This is the time to not just stick together, but to mass migrate to a safer location. In a city like New York, you are unarmed. You're not allowed to carry guns. That's just it. Physically, you are not going to be able to physically defend yourself against a full-grown black male or a full-grown Muslim male from Northern Africa or the Middle East. A lot of us are well over 200 pounds, well over 6 foot, and Jewish people are typically smaller. That's what makes them targets. In the past, they had strong police protection, and they're connected in the system. They have their own neighborhoods. They can keep people out. Things have changed, and because they are losing this proxy war, the Muslim armies that are intended to go after them have now invaded, and they know that there is no protections anymore, and they won't be prosecuted. The 2 men on this subway, even if they're arrested, the charges will be dropped because it is no longer a pro-Jewish or pro-Zionist administration running New York. Now that Mamdani has taken over, the smartest people that are Jewish in these areas are evacuating. And people are noticing and they're talking about it.
Well, check this out. Them fake ones is panicking and leaving New York. Now, why do you think that is? What do they know that we don't?
Well, they know that Mamdani will be president, and there will be less and less police that will show up when certain crimes are being committed by certain people. You know, it's crazy. I did a comparison video earlier. I'm going to post it tomorrow. It showed a white guy being pulled over and a crazy black woman. The white guy, the cop asked for his ID one time. And the guy was not really rude. He's a New Yorker. He was like, come on, you're going to make me show my ID? I just went around you when you were on the side of the road. The cop opened up the door and literally drug him out in under 30 seconds. He was on the ground and they were attacking this guy. The next video was a black woman, and she cussed them out to the ends of the earth, refused to get out, refused all orders, threatened them. And even at the end of that video, she still was not in handcuffs. No one touched her. This is 15 minutes later. Police are being told around the country to no longer arrest or even detain black suspects. So what that means is that if they say that there's black people attacking Jews in subways or in their neighborhoods, police who don't want to lose their job, they're not showing up. You know, it's crazy how fragile society is and how easy things can change just at the drop of a dime. Imagine being part of the outgoing ethnic group that was formerly in charge. And now all the people who felt like they were beneath you or treated wrong, or they've just been heavily propagandized by the war in Gaza that has really nothing to do with them, but just looking at it, it traumatized them. Every time they see a yarmulke, they're ready to crash out now. Never had any personal issues. Most of us never met anybody Jewish, but they are ready to throw everything away. But what do you think is going to happen when a year or two goes by and people that have attacked Jewish people and specifically hunted them, when no one arrests them and they're still on the streets? You know, it's crazy. I did another video about how you're able to openly insult and threaten white people, but you can't do that to any other race without getting in trouble. But on the internet, they allow you to. Let me give you an example. This video right here. all of these posts, in my opinion, are evil and demonic. And they're all meant to demoralize and desensitize people from feeling any kind of restraint when it comes to not just verbally attacking white people, but even getting enough courage to go after white women and children. Not the white men, they're deathly afraid of them. We know when they think white men, they think Viking. When they think Jewish men, they think accountant. No one's afraid of their accountant kicking their ass. So they go after the easier targets. Unfortunately, we let that get so far that now it's just now become a part of American culture to pretend everything white is evil and racist and oppressive. And they're doing the same thing now when it comes to Jewish people. That's why people are saying, oh, Jewish people are starting to leave. They have to. But this has been a part of, unfortunately, their history since it's been recorded. They live in certain societies. Eventually, the society revolts. Then they are exiled. They move to another country and repeat. There's nothing new under the sun. The same thing is happening right now. Look at in Australia. Excuse me. They literally put a guy or maybe multiple people that were at October 7th and they're magically spraying blood all over themselves and pretend to be so injured. If you had a gunshot to the head, you wouldn't be doing an interview and it just, we're from the United States. We see people get shot all the time. You don't look and act like that. But there were people that was a real event, but they sent crisis actors also. And there were crisis actors at that Brown University event as well. It's not going to work here in the United States. We're not giving up guns. There's too many black people in this country to even consider such a psychotic and moronic notion. No one's going to do that. But in Australia, they're still afraid of the small fringe minority of their population that is armed. And they want to take even more advanced options against them. But it was more so also trying to generate public support to be in favor of the Jewish population there. Because in recent months, the Australians voted to recognize Palestine as its own state. So now the two-state solution is going to happen either way, one way or another. So the Jews threatened Palestine. They threatened the Australians. And now this happens, and it looks like it was pre-planned to generate public support. However, the Jewish reputation is so low as far as their ratings in society right now. They're so low on the totem pole after the whole war in Gaza that even with these false flags, the public is not going to be swayed at all. And the people that are in power are not going to magically change their opinion. A lot of these people's opinion changed when they seen children being blown up while waiting in line for food and water while they were starving by IDF soldiers and air support. That changes people. And I don't think there's no coming back from that. I'm not saying the globalists is better or their plans for us in the future are superior, but it's a risk. We're basically allowing the enemy we know to be swapped out for the new enemy that we really don't know. And that enemy has its own army of men from the Middle East and Northern Africa. A standing army full of men that are not scared to fight, that are not afraid to die, and that are not confused about their gender or sexual identity. The troops that the Zionists would typically depend on to defend against them, they've already been demoralized. They're confused. They have no family, no children, and they don't believe in God. So they're deathly afraid of death. That means they're not soldiers and they're not ready to fight. So they don't even have an army anymore. So their options on what they can do are diminishing. And there's really, what can you really say?
Yo,
Yo, chill. Chill, bro.
And they just exited after they were assaulted. They exited the subway. You know, the last thing you're supposed to do is let these people know that they can push you around and do that to you. I don't care what group you are. You have to let people know you're willing to die defending yourself. If not, they're going to eat your lunch. And if you want to live in a city like New York, you got to learn how to be tough. But but they're not built for this New York life. You got to think about it. This whole country has been going in the wrong direction because there's been too many false senses. And what I mean is a false sense of security. Thinking that you don't need a husband. You don't need to know how to fight. You don't need to be a big, strong man because I can just call the police. That's wrong. Because now, well, there won't be any more police. So who are you going to call? You know, once you outlaw law enforcement because you say it's racist, then what do you think police are going to do? They're just not going to show up. You know, these jobs in law enforcement are good. You got benefits, 100 and something a year. You can take your kids and support your family. Are you going to risk your job arresting somebody black for even if they're guilty? Nope. Not when you know you're putting your life and your job on the line. So the best thing to do is to relocate out of these big cities. I would say go to Texas, but Texas is not welcoming. Florida. You can have arms there and you can protect yourself and your family, but you got to be willing to use it also. But I'll be honest, it's not looking like there's anywhere that's going to be safe because the globalists have sent troops even to Australia. They're opening the floodgates for immigration into Australia. That means everywhere that Zionists were comfortable is being taken away from them. New York was their capital. And once the Mamdani election happened, they lost it. Bibi is nervous. Killing Charlie Kirk did not do them any favors. The war is going, they lost the war regardless. And kicking and screaming at the end of it, like right now, it's not going to make a difference. There was another attack actually recently. Let's see here. A tourist from Jerusalem was attacked. In this top corner right here. It's happening everywhere. This was a man that got stabbed. I mean, in this situation, it's hard to know who was in the right or wrong, but you can clearly see who's the aggressor. They're taking out weapons and they have no fear because no one is going to now go after a person of color to defend someone that they can just say is a Zionist. The culture has shifted so far to the right that nobody is going to defend them anymore. So if you have children and you're, under under a certain height and weight, the smartest thing to do is to evacuate. You might want to get to safer grounds because staying in New York City post the Mamdani election, you're just basically a sitting duck waiting for something to happen. It's not worth it. It's a big country. You can relocate somewhere else. It's, and regardless if you have Zionist views or not, no one's going to care. They're going to see the yarmulke. They're going to think you're the enemy. And then poof, you're done. So you got to be smarter. You got to be better. You have kids. You have a future. And again, regardless of what I think about that country and what they did in Gaza, these are people in America. And I'm assuming they're Americans. They're, even if they're Zionists or have those views, you don't know, and no one should be attacked for what they think. Those are thought crimes, and that's not right. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Now, are you in the military over there? Then that's we cannot be friends, and I won't defend protecting you. But these are people that are just living over here, apparently be minding their own business. Now, things happen to everyone every day. And I'm not saying any one particular group deserves any more protection. What I'm saying is that the crimes against that one group of the Jewish group, have tripled post the Mamdani election. So what happens when his inauguration day and he gets in office? They're cooked. So that's just my advice. Try to get out of the city if you can. It's not worth it. Don't put you and your family at risk. Find safer grounds. Get yourself to Florida. Start over again and go from there. That was just my advice. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And I will be back on. Let me see here. Yeah. What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. Islam has no place on our planet. You can't say that because they can say the same thing about Zionism, or they can say anything about any religion. You really have to be careful, because anything you say about somebody, you have to imagine when they say it back to you. And what if you get the short end of the stick? Islam is probably the largest religion on our planet, so obviously the earth is a place for them. And Islam is the cure to feminism, so there are benefits of Islam. It's just the whole doctrine where, well, we're here to force people to believe what we believe. If not, we're going to fight. They're infidels. When they start talking like that, and they don't want people to have free will to choose otherwise, and they say other religions are inferior, then they sound like the Zionists. And then that's when even that religion, which I have family members that are Muslim, even that religion starts to sound like Zionists, and then they lose credibility. If you want to win people to your side to join your cause and your way of life, just make it appealing for them. You don't have to shame them or scare them into it. If what you're offering is better, or if what you're saying is true and what I believe is false, prove it. You can prove it with dialogue. You don't have to force me or threaten me or anything like that, or try to coerce me. You should be able to talk to me about it. The only way to counter a bad speech is with good speech. If that makes any sense. No, that's not. I don't even know what that means. But I mean, I'm reading the comments and I appreciate all the feedback. And I'm glad that people have their opinions. I mean, we can chime in and talk about it. I'm open to any conversation. I just noticed that there's this trend on that's matching what I said was going to happen, because I did a video on the day Mamdani was elected. And I said the rates of crime against Jews is now going to double or triple. And then there's a report today in the New York Post that they have tripled. And it's only going to get worse. And eventually you're going to see me doing a video about roving gangs that are specifically looking for anyone wearing a yarmulke. It's going to happen. And there won't be any police response. There won't be any military. This city is gone. We're in Escape from New York territory right now. Snake Dresden was his name, I believe. And then you're going to have Escape from LA, the two cities on our coast. So, you take my advice. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe, share the video. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I'll be back on shortly with another video. Remember, America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.